Hi guys, welcome to Cultural Mashup. My name is Yasser. Today I'm going to do an update video for the Rural and Northern Immigration Program. I'm going to tell you guys the requirements that you need to meet to apply into this program. That being said, this program is not live yet. You cannot apply into it. I'll let you guys know once you are able to apply into it. I have done 2 other videos on this program, so if you want to know any information regarding this program, I'm going to leave those videos linked down below in the description section. In this video, I'm just going to do the requirements. That being said, let's get straight into it. I'm going to list the eligibility criteria for this program, and then we're going to go into details as we go on with the video. The first requirement you need to meet is you need a recommendation from the community. Okay, so it's the community that recommends you for permanent residence. And then the second one is work experience, or you graduated from a post-secondary institution in that community. The third one is that you need a valid job offer. The fourth one is that you need to meet the language requirements for the national classification job that you're applying for. The fifth one is that you need to have the education. The basic one is high school or equivalent to Canadian high school. The sixth one is that you need to have enough funds for you to be able to transition into the community. The only exemption to this is that you are already working in Canada. The seventh one is showing intent that you're going to stay into the community once they let you into Canada. So let's go further into getting a recommendation from the community. The way the communities are going to give their recommendation is by you showing to them. I'm sure they're going to be doing interviews. So in the interview, you need to show and let them know, and for sure let them know that you'll be staying in that community once you have permanent residence into Canada, because the community will be recommending you for permanent residence. What you do after you get your permanent residence is up to you. They just want to make sure that you're planning to stay into that community once you have that permanent residence. The second thing the community are going to base that upon is if you have a valid job offer in the community. When you have a job in a certain area, you want to make sure you're living in that area as well. When you have a job in that community, it increases your likelihood of you staying in that community. So that's why they base that upon having a job offer in that community. They're also going to look at your work experience and your skill set, because at the end of the day, they want to make sure that what you're bringing into the community is going to benefit them. They just want to make sure that the work experience you have and the skills that you're bringing to the community are also going to be beneficial to them in covering the gap that they have in the labor market, and you're basically just going to be a helpful individual into that community. The last thing that they're going to base their recommendation on is if you have ties in the community. It's actually great if you know someone who's living in that community as well, because it shows that you already have friends, you have people there that you know, and you know, it's nice when you go to a place and you have friends and you have people that you know. It just helps you to stay there long. If you have someone that actually stays in one of those communities that are going to participate in this program and you're interested into going into that area as well, it will be a nice plus. So the second requirement was work experience. You need to have at least 1 year of work experience into the job that you're applying for. You cannot have work experience in a different field than what you're applying for into Canada. So you have to make sure you need to have at least 1 year work experience, and that equals to 1,560. This 1 year work experience needs to be within the last 3 years. You need to have been working full-time or part-time. It can be from different employers, but it needs to be for the same type of job. The work experience that you have is either you got it from the country that you're living in right now, or you got it in Canada. It all counts, but it needs to be at least 1 year of work experience, and that's 1,560 hours. By the way, for your work experience, you need to make sure that whatever experience you have and the duties you've been performing into that job meets the National Occupational Classification or job classification in Canada. I'm going to leave that link down below in the description section. If you want to check, then just check and make sure that you're doing the same duties as what is listed onto that NOC. If you don't know what that means, it's basically if you're saying I'm a plumber in my country, these are the duties that I do as a plumber. You need to to make sure that that matches with what Canada says plumbers should be doing. Just click the link in the description section if you want to see if you have the same duties as what Canada describes you're supposed to be doing into that job. The third requirement for this program is that you need to have a genuine job offer. The way they are describing a genuine job offer is that it needs to be a full-time employment. So whatever job you're applying to, it needs to be full-time, and full-time is working at least 30 hours. It also needs to be non-seasonal, okay? So it cannot be like picking blueberries, because that is a seasonal job and you only pick blueberries for a few months of the year and that job is done. So it needs to be a job that you can do all year. And by the way, it needs to be a permanent position, so it cannot be temporary. For this program, it must, and I'm saying it must be a permanent position. Don't apply into any temporary positions. It also needs to meet the minimum wage for the NOC that you're applying for. So if that job is paying less than the NOC classifies, then you do not qualify for this program. So the employer has to be paying as much as what Canada says, for this job, this is what you should be getting paid for. The last thing that they're looking at to make sure that it's a genuine job offer, you need to have work experience in the job that you're applying into. Because it's pretty obvious, if you don't have work experience, then you should not be applying into a job, or at least you should not be getting a job that you don't have work experience into. The requirements at the beginning, I told you guys that you need to have either work experience or you need to have graduated from a school in that community. So if you are an international student and you went to a school in one of those communities, you are exempt from having work experience. I hope that is clear. You're only exempt from having work experience if you graduated from a school in one of those participating communities, okay? You need to have done a program that is at least over 2 years, and that program cannot be English focused, so it cannot be language focused programs. It needs to be a sort of like a career or job training type of program. Before you apply into the program, you need to make sure that you got your degree, your diploma, or your certificate 18 months before applying into the program. You'll also need to show that you stayed in that community for at least 16 months during your time of study. So if you traveled outside of the country or outside of that community a lot when you were studying, then it reduces the amount of time you are in that community. You need to have at least 16 months. So the fourth requirement was the language requirement, and this is in either French or English depending on the community that you're going into. If that community mainly speaks French, then you need to do the French test. If that community speaks English, then you need to do the English test. Depending on the job classification that you're applying for, they have different levels that you need to achieve. If you're applying in NOC 0 and A, then your English or French test must be 6. If you're applying in NOC B, then your test must be at least a 5. If you're applying in NOC C and D, then you need to have at least a 4. Make sure when you're doing this language test, you're doing them in designated institutions that are actually approved, because if you do it in a place that they do not accept the test results from, then they're not going to take it and you'll have to still go pay money in another institution and take that test again. The next requirement is education. The minimum requirement in this program is a high school diploma. This needs to be equivalent to a Canadian high school diploma, so you need to go and get your documents so that they show that it's equivalent to a Canadian high school diploma. The next requirement is that you need to show that you have enough money to transition easily into the community. And according to the requirements, you need to have at least 8,722 Canadian dollars for one person. For any additional person, you need to have at least $2,136. That being said, the last one of the requirements is again that you show intent to stay in these communities. So make sure when they're doing the interview, don't fail this part. Even if they ask you, do you have any other family members in Canada? Say yes, but I want to live in this community. Basically convince the interviewer that you want to live in that community. Because I know a lot of people will fail just because of that part, okay? If they ask you, are you coming to stay here for good? I'm coming to stay here for good. That is your only answer. You're not going to go anywhere. You can go visit, but you're coming to stay back in that community, okay? Don't forget that and don't fail because of that. I'm going to let you guys know once this program goes live and you can apply into it. For the time being, please get everything ready that you need to apply into this program. If you want to see documents that you might need for immigration, I'm going to leave a video that I did linked down below in the description bar. By the way, if you have not subscribed yet to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to try and upload at least one video a week, so make sure you turn on the notification bar so you don't miss out on any video. Again, my name is Yasser. This is Cultural Mashup. Have a lovely week. Bye.